I was already in the room when I realized it shouldn't exist. That was the first problem. The second was that I couldn't remember walking into it. The walls were too close, painted a dull off-white that hummed under the lights. No windows, no vents, just a table bolted to the floor and a single chair facing it. On the far wall, a red digital clock counted midnight and didn't move. I checked my phone. No signal, no time, no notifications. On the table sat a laminated card. Rule 1. Do not leave before the room finishes with you. I laughed. A sharp, nervous sound. Very funny, I said to no one. The door behind me wasn't locked. That made it worse. I reached for the handle. The clock ticked to 0:01. A sound came from the ceiling, like a pen dragged across paper. I froze. Another card slid out from a thin slot in the wall and landed on the table, face down. I turned it over. Rule 2. If the clock moves while you're touching the door, you will stay longer. I let go immediately. The clock stopped at 0:01. My mouth went dry. I looked for cameras, corners, reflections. Anything that explained this as a prank or a drill or a test I'd agreed to and forgotten. Nothing. Another card slid out. Rule 3. The room learns faster when you're honest. Honest about what? I asked. The lights dimmed a fraction, like the room was leaning in. I sat in the chair. The clock started again. 0:02. The pen-scratching sound returned, closer now, inside the walls, like something writing directly onto the space. A final card slid out. Question 1. When was the last time you pretended not to notice something was wrong? My first instinct was to joke, to say all the time, to brush it off. The clock ticked to 0:03. The scratching grew louder. I swallowed. Last week, I said. At work, I noticed numbers in a report didn't line up. I ignored it. The scratching stopped. The lights brightened. The clock ticked to 0:04. My chest tightened. Another card appeared. Question 2. Who did you convince yourself didn't need help? I shook my head. This is stupid. The clock ticked. The walls felt closer. I thought of my sister, the unread messages, the call I'd sent to voicemail because I was busy. She did, I said. I told myself she did. The lights steadied. The clock advanced. 0:05. My hands were shaking now. Another question. Question 3. What did you hear that you chose not to listen to? I laughed again, but it broke halfway through. I hear things all the time. That doesn't mean. The clock jumped to 0:10. The scratching exploded into a frantic scrawl, like something angry at the lie. I clutched the edge of the table. Okay. I remembered the night my neighbor banged on my door. The night I turned the TV up louder instead. He was screaming, I whispered. I told myself it wasn't my problem. Silence. Then the room exhaled. The clock returned to 0:06. I stared at it. You can rewind? Another card slid out. Only when you admit it. My stomach dropped. The questions kept coming. Each one peeled something open I'd carefully sealed shut. Each honest answer moved the clock forward by 1 second. Each deflection sent it racing ahead. I learned quickly. I told it about the lie I never corrected, the apology I planned but never sent, the moment I realized something was wrong and decided it was easier not to know. With every admission, the room felt less hostile. But the clock kept moving. 0:18. 019, 020. Where does this end? I asked. The answer slid out immediately. When you stop lying to yourself. I am stopping, I said. The clock jumped to 0:30. The lights flickered violently. The scratching turned into something wet and tearing, like paper being ripped with teeth. I screamed. I don't know how, I said. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to be better. The room went still. The clock slowed. 0:31. Another card appeared, thicker than the others. Final question. Who are you when no one is watching? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out, because I didn't know. The clock accelerated. 0:45, 0:46, 0:47. The walls pressed inward. The air felt heavy, difficult to breathe. I don't want to be this person, I said, sobbing. I want to notice. I want to help. I want to listen. The clock stopped. 0:47. The door behind me opened on its own. Bright hallway light spilled in. I stumbled toward it, heart hammering. Just before I crossed the threshold, a final card slid out and landed at my feet. I picked it up with trembling hands. Rule 4. You don't remember the room. The room remembers you. The hallway was normal. Office carpet, fluorescent lights, people walking past without noticing me. My phone buzzed. A missed call. From my sister. I answered immediately. She sounded surprised. Relieved. I didn't think you'd pick up, she said. I'm listening, I replied. And I meant it. That was weeks ago. I don't remember the room. Not clearly. But sometimes when I hesitate, when I almost look away from something I know is wrong, I hear a faint scratching sound. And somewhere behind my eyes, a clock ticks forward.